Some of you may not agree fully with everything I say. Thank God in this blessed land we can still speak our convictions without fear. I have been in nations where this blessed privilege is no longer enjoyed. What I shall say are my personal convictions, born out of an active life which has taken me into 45 nations and brought me close to the insidious forces which would destroy our way of life in this choice land. I express these convictions and warnings today because of my love for you, the true Church of Christ, and our beloved country. I am not here to tickle your ears, to entertain you. I will talk to you as one who loves this great nation. The message I bring is not a happy one, but it is the truth. And time is always on the side of truth. Truth must be repeated again and again, because error is constantly being preached round about. We have been plunging headlong down the primrose path toward the inevitable destruction of our great country. It is quite true that while the socialist-communist conspiracy of itself does not have as yet the power necessary to do the job, it is nevertheless receiving vital aid and comfort from the Fabian socialists, fellow travelers, dupes, and liberals to such a degree that the communists are jubilant at the course of events. In less than half a century, this evil system has gained control over 1/3 of mankind. It is steadily pursuing its vicious control over all the rest of the world. Since World War II, people have been brought under the communist yoke at the rate of more than 6,000 per hour, 144,000 per day, 52 million per year. Truly, the Fabian socialists in this country are rolling out the red carpet, which will without doubt, unless we arouse ourselves, eventually result in the complete communist takeover of America. This is their hope, their plan, and their bold prediction. This is not to say that all those lending their support to the Fabian socialist camp are consciously helping the communists. Undoubtedly, there are many well-meaning people who have been misled and confused. However, it makes little difference who pulls the trigger of a gun aimed at your heart. The end result is the same. There are real dangers ahead. Why do I have anxiety and fear for the future? I fear for the future when I realize that for some 30 years, our once free institutions, political, economic, educational, and social, have been drifting into the hands of those who favor the welfare state and who would centralize all power in the hands of the political apparatus in Washington. This enhancement of political power at the expense of individual rights, so often disguised as democracy or freedom or civil rights, is socialism, no matter what name tag it bears. I fear for the future when the federal government now owns more than 1/3 of the total land area within the boundaries of the 50 states. I fear for the future when the central government owns and operates more than 3,000 businesses and commercial activities in competition with its own private tax-paying citizens. I fear for the future when I realize that the functions of the federal government are carried on by some 2,000 major operating units. I fear for the future when the federal government directly lends $1 for every $5 loaned by private banks, and that much of the federal funds loaned are at rates below the cost of money to the government. I fear for the future when in 1913 to 15, a couple making $10,000 a year paid in federal taxes $60. But in 1956, a couple earning $10,000 paid $1,590 in federal income tax. I fear for the future when I realize that 25 years ago, the federal government received 1/4 of all the taxes collected in the United States. Today, the federal government collects not 1/4, but 68% of all our taxes. I fear for the future when the foreign governments have used and are using American tax money to pay for socialism. I fear for the future because 25 years ago, all taxes, federal, state, and local, took 14% of our national income. Today, taxes take 35%. I fear for the future when I see our federal debt soar well over $300 billion, over $7,000 per family of four, 16 times the combined debt of the 50 states, and at the same time see no evidence that this dangerous trend will be curtailed. I fear for the future when I see an affluent but complacent citizenry paying little or no attention to these and many other socialistic trends in this blessed land of America. In 1878, the great Southern statesman Benjamin Hill of Georgia warned us of these dangers on the floor of the United States Senate in these prophetic words: "I dread nothing so much as the exercise of ungranted and doubtful powers by this government. It is, in my opinion, the danger of dangers to the future of this country. Let us be sure that we keep it always within its limits. If this great, ambitious, ever-growing corporation becomes aggressive, who shall check it? If it becomes wayward, who shall control it? If it becomes unjust, who shall trust it? As sentinels of the country's watchtower, I beseech you to watch and guard with sleepless dread that corporation which can make all property and rights, all states and people, and all liberty and hope its playthings in an hour and its victims forever." We are now this very day at war with a socialist communist conspiracy. This is a point that a lot of people do not seem to realize. They think that just because we are not shooting at each other with bullets, that it isn't a real war. But we are really at war, and we must win this war if we expect to survive as a free people. The following quotations from J. Edgar Hoover, probably the best authority on this subject in America, point this out very clearly. "We are at war with the communists, and the sooner every red-blooded American realizes this, the safer we will be. We are living in an age of uncertainty, an age of awesome national peril, an age when the struggle between freedom and totalitarian enslavement is drawing toward a climax. The Communist Party USA has been and is engaging in an all-out war against American freedom. Its tactics of confusion, retreat, advance, infiltration, and hypocrisy are in full play. The attack is both legal and illegal, offensive and defensive, open and concealed. Yes, we are at war with this sinister conspiracy. Every communist today must be considered an enemy, wherever he may be, at home or abroad. A soft approach toward the menace of communism can lead only to national disaster." End of quotation. The communists are winning the war and building their empire largely with the help of non-communists, fellow travelers, sympathizers, dupes, liberals, and so on. Some people foolishly believe that the communists are changing, that they are mellowing. This is not true. Today's headlines remind us there has been no basic change in communist imperialism. The danger which world communism presents to the free nations has not abated. If anything, it has increased. In a masterful address, Keys to Freedom, before the Catholic Youth Organization last month, J. Edgar Hoover issued shocking and timely warnings to complacent Americans. I quote, "Today, the communists are engaged in an intensive campaign to control the minds and win the allegiance of American youth. Toward this end, a National Youth Commission has been established within the Communist Party USA. Special publications have been issued, front groups have been organized, and an ambitious speech program has been directed against our colleges and universities. It is indeed ironic that the Communist Party speakers, whose minds and thoughts and actions are in no manner free, should demand the opportunity to parrot the Moscow line to young Americans under the guise of academic freedom. Academic freedom is not an instrument for the perpetuation of conspiratorial ideologies, nor is it an agent of self-destruction, a freedom to destroy freedom. As a free-flowing channel of truth and knowledge, academic freedom is not obligated to carry along the silted tributaries of lies and distortions of known communists. The communists look upon students as potential sympathizers, supporters, and contributors to the party's cause, nor are they unmindful of the rich opportunity for infiltration presented by unwary racial and nationality groups. This is especially true, continues Hoover, of the intense civil rights movement within the United States. For America's 20 million Negroes and the countless other citizens who share their objectives in the current struggle are a priority target for communist propaganda and exploitation. Every organization engaged in this struggle must constantly remain alert to this vital fact, for once under communist domination, all freedoms and rights are lost. One of the dangerous present-day fallacies is the idea that we can continue with a policy of peaceful coexistence. Here again, Hoover warns as follows. Key to the new Soviet strategy is the so-called peaceful coexistence policy. It is a broad psychological tactic cleverly devised by Khrushchev to serve a number of objectives. It is another powerful weapon in the communist arsenal of deception, a weapon concealed behind an alluring campaign designed to provide a cover for the goal of attaining a worldwide communist society through revolutionary means. Through the weapon of peaceful coexistence, Soviet communists are seeking to lull the free world, particularly the United States, into a false sense of security. It is a means of buying time through which they can consolidate past gains while probing for soft spots in the non-communist world which present opportunities for future expansion. More is needed than merely to say that we are opposed to communism. We must aggressively take action to defeat it. It is the duty of all Americans to fully understand the true import of this threat to our heritage, to expose it, and to combat it with every weapon at our command. It is not enough to be against communism. We must shed our complacency and aggressively meet this challenge. As the War Teaching Message of July 1961 stated, quote, "It is the duty of freedom-loving people to oppose and resist this evil with all the strength God has given us. If we do not, we stand to lose all we and our forebears have gained through the centuries." The real threat is here at home. The seriousness of the insidious internal threat cannot be overemphasized. The communist threat from without must not blind us to the communist threat from within. The latter is reaching into the very heart of America through its espionage agents and a cunning, defiant, and lawless Communist Party which is fanatically dedicated to the Marxist cause of world enslavement and destruction of the foundations of our republic. The Communist Party in this country has attempted to infiltrate and subvert every segment of our society. Unjust criticism of the anti-communists, anti-socialists helps the conspiracy in this danger and is dangerous to our future. In April 1962, President David O. McKay, in his closing remarks at General Conference, quoted J. Edgar Hoover as follows: "There is no place here in America for part-time patriots. This nation is face to face with the greatest danger ever to confront it, a sinister and deadly conspiracy which can be conquered only by an alert, informed citizenry. It is indeed appalling that some members of our society continue to deplore and criticize those who stress the communist danger. Public indifference to this threat is tantamount to national suicide. Lethargy leads only to disaster," unquote. Yes, J. Edgar Hoover, probably the best informed man in America on this threatening conspiracy, has repeatedly warned us that the gravest danger we face today comes from the socialist communist conspiracy and from within. Many people cannot see how this statement of Mr. Hoover's can be true, since there are supposedly only about 10,000 or so party members in this country. Those who doubt Mr. Hoover overlook the fact that for every member of the communist conspiracy, there are at least 10 others willing and eager to do their bidding.